guys. This is really, really exciting. Thank you all for coming. On behalf of Eidos, Core Design, and of course, Ms. Croft, I want to welcome you all for coming tonight and thank you. My name is Pacha London. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Eidos. It's great to see so many familiar faces, a lot of friends. It's great to see a lot of new faces. Once again, thank you and welcome. It appears because of the red carpet and the bright lights, the stage, and once again the open bar, someone, Michelle Seebach, was a bit afraid that I might come up here and do a bit of a bust a move or song and dance because she has clearly marked out the area where I'm supposed to stand. She's given me about 2 feet, so I'll do my best to stay in there. She's left nothing to chance. Tomb Raider, what an amazing phenomenon. What an amazing franchise. To date, on the PlayStation, it's the #1 selling franchise in North America and Europe, which is pretty amazing when you consider the fantastic games that have come out in both those territories in the last 6 years. Pretty impressive. To date, on all platforms, Tomb Raider has sold over 27 million units worldwide. Obviously, lots of drunk Eidos people here tonight. But if you think about that, 27 million units, that's pretty staggering. Some of the folks at Eidos Accounting, some of the bean counters, had some fun with that number. And if you take 27 million units, times that by the roughly 30 hours of gameplay per title, that is a whopping 810 million hours people have spent playing the game. And if you break that down a little bit more, that's 33 million days, 1.25 million months, and 93,000 years. A lot of folks have a lot of time in their hands. A lot of people need some jobs. Absolutely. Lara Croft, truly one of a kind. She is bigger than life. To a lot of people, to myself, she is very real. And on that note, I'd like to turn it over to Adrian Smith from Core Design. I was going to say he's one of the original creators of the franchise. She's stable.
Okay. So glad that Paul's brought some of his family in the audience to cheer us on. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for the very elegant introduction, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to this spectacular location. I'm sure that you agree with me that it's a location really very befitting to Tomb Raider, and particularly to Lara. I wouldn't be at all surprised if she's not upstairs at the moment casing the joint to see what she can steal. I'm really pleased to be able to join you here this evening at this event, and more so to be able to tell you a little bit and also show you a little bit about the new game and why we feel it's so different. In order for me to do this, we actually have to look back towards the end of Tomb Raider 4, The Last Revelation, where we presume Lara was dead, buried inside a collapsing Egyptian tomb, never to see the light of day again. Well, I really have some shocking news for you. Contrary to popular rumours, she did die. Obviously brings me to the end of my presentation. Whew, so glad you laughed. Obviously, in true American soap opera style, Lara did survive the ordeal at the end of The Last Revelation. But whatever happened there has left its mark on her, and she's struggling to come to terms with her near-death experience. This ending of The Last Revelation was indeed the end of the Tomb Raider games as we all become to know and understand. But more importantly, it also heralds the beginning of a new chapter for Lara and Tomb Raider. So the woman that started it all has changed. She didn't die, but she is harder by as experienced. At the beginning of Angel of Darkness, we will see Lara in a situation that is alien to her. Everything that has come to understand and know about Lara, everything that has been available to Lara as the infamous female adventuress suddenly turned upside down. All the doors that have always been open to Lara are firmly shut. So this is not the adventure that you have become familiar with, but it is Lara's new world. So today's Tomb Raider seems a long way away from the 6 original members who worked on the original game. And I'd like to call on the help to reveal a little more about the making and the style of this game from some of the current team. our vision is to take the player somewhere dark, a place they might not necessarily wish to go, but a place that they'll have to venture if they want to bring Lara back.
This world is from the imagination, but based in reality. A dark world, a dangerous world, a world that reflects the change in Lara.
It will be a new experience, one that will almost be shocking to people who have played Tomb Raider in the past.
From the catacombs of the Louvre to the alleys of Prague, we searched for the seedier side of life. A world that you wouldn't normally see Lara in, but a world that she has no choice but to inhabit.
Like her audience, like the game's consoles themselves, Lara has grown up. Her experiences in Tomb Raider 4 have forced her to question herself. This game will ask more questions of her. For the first time, Lara will have a moral choice to make. It's no longer a clear-cut case of good versus evil. This is a more complex tale which will ask more complex questions of the player.
The player controls how the story develops much more than in previous Tomb Raiders. Basically, when Lara talks to a character, the player can also choose whether Lara is nice, nasty, or dismissive to another character.
The player will choose which path to take, which characters to trust, which lies to believe, and which enemy to face.
It's a much more intelligent game for the enemies as well as Lara. The PlayStation 2's got much more power to process enemies doing much more complicated things.
The enemies in the game have evolved. They will work together. Notice when another enemy is killed and react accordingly.
These enemies will pursue Lara. They will not stop. They have not stopped in 600 years.
This story is very much on an epic scale, from 14th century alchemists to serial killers in modern day France. To create something on this scale, it was necessary to take the ideas and production values from the film industry in the way they research the subjects, the backstory they create for their characters, and the depth of the visuals.
Some may see elements of various filmmakers, such as Luc Besson, David Fincher.
Some may see elements of various artists, Grunwald, Bosch. All will see something they haven't seen before.
When we wrote this story, we wrote a book. This game is only the first few chapters of that book. This game opens a lot of doors and only closes a few of them. Can I just point out for the record that my eyes don't normally flash in the dark like they did on there. As you can sense, Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness will be a revolution for a new generation of gamers. Lara's been drawn reluctantly into a sinister, shadowy world. She's on the run and fighting for her life. This game will make you feel the same sense of excitement and awe that the players felt playing the original Tomb Raider game. Lara is back, and this is Tomb Raider's story like you've never imagined. She has a new edge, she's darker, harder, and in some serious trouble. Our Lara will impress you in the ways you won't believe, and you will get the first taste of things to come at E3. I'm very relieved to say that I've finished, and I'd now like to pass it over to Rob Dyer, President of Eidos Interactive, who will actually show you a little bit more of the game footage. It's all right. All yours.
Thanks, Adrian. It's nice to stand up in front of people and have some good news for a change. Seriously. Lara Croft is very much alive, and Tomb Raider, the franchise, continues to be increasingly successful. Not only has it been a benchmark in video games, the Tomb Raider movie starring Angelina Jolie has grossed over $350 million in film, video, and DVD sales worldwide. The sequel is in the works and currently planned for a June 2003 release from Paramount Pictures. I would like to personally thank the producer and the guiding hand behind the movie, Lloyd Levin, for joining us tonight. Lloyd, where are you? Thanks. While we're pleased with the success of the film, Lara is and will always remain a video game icon. Much of this can be attributed to the excellent relationship with Sony and the launch of the PlayStation. Since the original Tomb Raider launch in 1996, and God, I can't believe it's been that long, the series has been an outstanding endorsement of the power of the PlayStation. Tonight, Eidos is pleased to announce that the next chapter in Lara's story, The Angel of Darkness, will make its exclusive console home on the PlayStation 2. Yes, that's something to clap about. We're very excited to continue the heritage that was established on PlayStation. We look forward to furthering the relationship with Lara has with the PlayStation 2 owners. Among the factors influencing this decision were PlayStation 2's clear worldwide category leadership in terms of both brand and, more importantly, the audience numbers, and PlayStation 2's ability to deliver on Core's vision for the next step in the story. We are confident that millions of new and existing fans will be drawn to the adventures of Lara Croft on the PlayStation 2. I would also like to thank our partners from Sony for joining us here tonight.
And now I'd like to turn it over to a brief Q&A. So please, any questions, please ask us. If not, that's okay too.
We're still buying cocktails, so that's all right. If you don't have any questions. I know I need one.
Yeah. Young lady.
This relates to the second films coming out in 2003. And are you going to be following the same storyline as the game, or is it going to be based in the Dark Universe? Are you going to comment on that?
No, I think there's always been a fairly conscious decision that the Tomb Raider game runs its own sort of parallel track alongside of the movie, if you like. So it's fair to say that our game's taken a different route than the expectation where the movie's going to be this time around.
Yes.
What kind of timing are you shooting for, and what kind of budget do you have?
For the game. It'll be a November 15th release. In terms of budgets, we don't really get into those type of numbers.
A lot of money.
The team is 6 times as big as it was in the past, and quite a bit more production quality, absolutely.
The question was, when's the game coming out and how much was it? Sorry about that.
You said this is actually based on a book that you wrote. How many chapters does it really cover, and how much more in that book for this section?
The current...
The question was?
Yeah, sorry, the question. I'll repeat the question, apparently. The question was that how many episodes are we going to do, I guess, based around the book. At the moment, it's 4. So the book is in 4 different sections. I mean, very much the idea and the philosophy behind this game is that, Lara isn't going to be able to solve the big picture singly in this first adventure. It's something that, she is going to span these 4 adventures that we're going to bring.
Yes, JT.
Do you expect all 4 or the 4 releases to be kind of annual? Will you see this on an annual basis? And does the engine change as you go through the 4?
It will be annually. Going to hopefully do it in 12-month installments as we've always done with the Tomb Raider franchise. And yes, the engine's going to change. We've got 2 teams running concurrently, so there's sort of an overlap of this adventure and the next adventure, and they've shared resources, but indeed the engine has also been tweaked already for the second game and subsequently on from there.
Yes.
Suzanne.
Hi, Suzanne. Yeah. You're right in the light side of that.
Okay, so it's November 15th for PlayStation 2, other platforms,
PlayStation 2 and on the console and PC.
and
Correct.
Xbox and GameCube?
No. Just what we announced, it's exclusive on the PlayStation 2 on the console.
No other platform. Doug.
What kind of new gameplay elements are you adding to the game that weren't in the previous 5?
The simple answer is lots. I think E3 is going to be the venue really to actually come along and have a look at that. This is a whole new game. It's a ground-up start from us. It's taken many of the traditional Tomb Raider elements over into there, and has also really thought it out with lots and lots of new things. And really, that's what we're going to show down at E3.
Can you give us a small hint or one detail?
Yeah, there's a second playable character in there that's fairly common knowledge, a guy called Curtis, that at certain points in the game you'll actually get to play, who's there to sort of work alongside Lara.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, with such a strong franchise, why just PS2 as the only console to be released
The question is, why just the PS2? Well, we're very, very excited about the numbers that the PS2 brings to the table, as well as the brand identity that it has. And very candidly, we want to make sure that we're tied to something that has that type of an installed base, as well as the brand identity. That's why.
Yes.
Lara Croft is a woman, and I know
Yes, she is.
gamers in this country are men. Do you think this gives men a chance to secretly become a woman?
That's a good He acknowledged, he realized that Lara Croft was a woman. That was the first thing. He asked, the fact that she is a woman, does that give men an opportunity to be a woman? And of course, we are in San Francisco, so it's a very apropos question. I think clearly one of the reasons why the game has done so well is that she is a woman. And whether you're a young boy or a young girl or an older boy or older girl, she is very, very enticing. Fantastic character. So it's really, makes no difference, really.
She has brains and all that, right?
Absolutely. She's first and foremost a very savvy, intelligent, athletic woman before we get to her curvaceous nature. Yes? Good question.
Yeah, I think, why we've taken Tomb Raider this way, I think for us, the end of The Last Revelation was really the end of those first 5 games that we produced. We wanted to change the situation with Lara, but we find it very difficult to change Lara's character, because people know so much about Lara, they know her character. She isn't a mass murderer, she isn't someone that will just go out and shoot anything. So we found that what we could change was the situation that Lara's actually in. And that situation is something that's very alien to her, it's very different. The premise that Lara is put into this situation will actually change how we can actually change the gameplay side of it.
Yes, sir.
Considering the movie was so popular, is Jolie involved, or was the film a big inspiration to you guys? In any aspect?
Looking at me. Sorry, I didn't quite hear the question.
The question
Was the movie an inspiration for the next game?
did Angelina influence how you portray Lara in this game?
Not really. I mean, there's certain elements that obviously bringing Lara to the big screen made a big difference of people's perception to the character, and that's something that we've looked at and something that we researched with the guys from Paramount to how Lara's perception has changed out there into the mass market. There's certain elements. Really, the only visual element that you'll probably see is that some of her clothing looks not too dissimilar to actually Angelina had in the movie.
But it's important to note that Angelina plays Lara. That's kind of the key thing. We're going to take one more question. With the hat on?
I was going to say, the last set of games, you guys had yearly updates the way you plan on having them now, and I think that's kind of what killed the franchise a little bit, at least for me, having yearly updates, trying to innovate with each year. Do you have something planned different for the next set of 4 games? I mean, you have 4 games planned already. Have you thought about new ways to innovate gameplay from year to year, or haven't thought about that yet?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The question was, how do we keep it fresh year to year if we're going to do it year on year like we have in the past?
Singularly, the biggest difference for us is in the past we've done the game in a 12-month period. We've finished one and then started another. And each game has been in total isolation to the last one. There's been very little thought at the end of the game to the next game, if you like. This time around, we actually spent 12 months sat in a room thinking about these 4 episodes, thinking about how we can get progression of characters, how we can change the story, how we can change the narrative through that, how we can introduce new elements from one game to the other game. So, we're running 2 teams, which is a big difference. One team working on The Angel of Darkness and one team working on the next game. So rather than being a 12-month development window, we've also got a 2-year development window on each of the games. So it's massively different, to be perfectly honest.
Well, again, you also have to realize they have two separate teams working one game now and one game for Christmas of 2003.
That's a good amount.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to continue upstairs. I've yet to have a drink, so I'm going to have my first. Thank you very much.